The Nissan Micra was once so integral to Nissan's success that there was higher public awareness of the name Micra than there was of the word Nissan. But, well, the Micra hasn't exactly had things all its own way of late. For a start, because of the Qashqai, it's not so pivotal to the Nissan range. And then came the just-gone generation Micra, built to sell in major world markets and only given minimal alterations before its arrival in Europe, where the best superminis were far, far better than it. Heck, even the generation before Micra was better than it. But now there's a new Micra, heralded by some pretty bold claims by Nissan that it doesn't just want to make the Micra competitive with the best in class again, it wants to make the Micra the best supermini on sale. Better than a Ford Fiesta. Better than a Volkswagen Polo. Which means it'll be better than all the others too. As ambitions go, that's pretty lofty. To do it, Nissan hasn't replaced the Micra's platform, surprisingly. The Renault-Nissan alliance is working on a new supermini platform, but making the Micra from it would have delayed the next generation Renault Clio, so the Micra's is a thorough re-engineering of the existing V platform. If you think that's a worry, don't. In the shape of the Nissan Note, it already underpins a decent car, so it was the individual execution of the outgoing Micra that was the problem, rather than an indication that the hardware simply wasn't up to it. Nonetheless, Nissan has gone to town on it. There is new suspension front and rear and a body that's unrecognizable from the previous one. The car is now to be built in Europe, a Renault factory in France, rather than Thailand and India, in this made-for-Europe model. We've spent a bit of time in an 89 bhp 1.5-liter diesel model and quite a lot of time in an 89 bhp 0.9-liter petrol model, both late pre-production cars. Prices will be announced next January, and you can expect them to be competitive with the likes of the Fiesta and Polo, because you can't price cars anything other than competitively in this class, before the car goes on sale in March. Inside, the new Micra is light years better than the car that has just departed. All models get a two-tone interior, but in higher spec models like our test car there's some faux leather, and in this form the inside feels as good as anything in the class. But all variants will apparently get soft feel plastics in crucial places, and a lot of features are standard to all models. In return, Nissan has saved the odd quid elsewhere but is pitching this as a virtue. Open the boot and where a Polo would have flat boot sides for better perceived quality, there are rough panels that follow the contours of the wheel arches. The luggage cover gets string hooks rather than plastic clips and just rests on a perch rather than clipping in and out. But Nissan says this helps to make the boot bigger and the load cover quicker to remove and replace. That may be a fair point. Rear seat passengers have to wind their own windows, too. The payoff comes in the front, where the Micra feels great. The driving position is sound, the pedals are spaced perfectly, the seat back is adjusted by a rotary dial rather than a ratchet and there's a central multimedia touchscreen that's certainly easier to operate than Ford's infotainment system, if not VW's. If we keep mentioning the Fiesta and Polo, it's because Nissan, not just us, regards those cars as the current class benchmarks, dynamically, as well as anything else. Broadly speaking, the VW is one of the most comfortable riding cars in the class and the Ford is the best handling. Nissan has aimed the Micra somewhere between the two, and it has hit the target. The ride is smooth, even on 17-in wheels with 45 profile tires, while the steering is precise and responsive, if light. Science bit. All Micras come with chassis control, which includes active trace control and active ride control. Ride control can gently apply a brake, usually a rear, after you've hit a speed bump to ease back body pitch. Active trace control works in corners, above 0.4 grams. It, too, applies a brake gently, very gently, given that it's about 3 or 4 bar, when an emergency stop is 120 bar, to keep the car on your intended line. It's operating comfortably within the realms of grip, well before the stability control kicks in, so you don't have to drive as if your pants are on fire. It just maintains a sense of agility and security, and the stability control operates so subtly that you really don't know it's there, until you try it back to back with the system on and off. Even with it off, though, Nissan has set up the Micra to be agile and trustworthy. A Fiesta still remains the more compelling car to drive, in our eyes, but the Micra probably runs it second in the class, while offering better bump absorption. It's that good, this car. The 0.9-liter 3-cylinder petrol engine, a Renault-Nissan Alliance unit, is smooth, although it offers nothing below 2,000 revolutions per minute and not a great deal for a few hundred revs more. It thrums along sweetly enough, though, aided by a very slick 5-speed manual gearbox. Over 2 days driving, we didn't return any more than 40 miles per gallon, but you should consider that worst-case consumption. Our drive in the 4-cylinder 1.5D Nissan Micra was much briefer. It has a broad spread of power low down, but the extra 80 kilograms it carries blunts the dynamics. The petrol version is probably preferable. As an option, there's a new Bose sound system, the cost of which ought not to be a deal breaker if you're buying on finance. It includes a speaker in the head restraint, and I've never heard a better system in a car of this size. For too long, the Micra has been completely forgettable in this class, a 2-star car at best, and Nissan Europe knew it. The new Micra has been shifted way up the scale, to the point that we're confident it's right up there with the best cars in the class. Assuming the pricing is competitive, it might even be the very best.